back in the North Star Takes podcast. Bailey Palicki and Jacob Roberta here. You can find any of our videos on YouTube at North Star Takes Podcast, and you can also keep up with us on Instagram as well as Twitter. Today we're going to talk about the Minnesota Timberwolves approaching the NBA draft lottery coming up. Was this in the next week or so?
I believe it's next week sometime.
Yeah, looking forward to that just because we got to see if we're going to keep that pick or not. I'm crossing my fingers as well as everybody else in the state. It's a basketball fan, has a vested interest in the Wolves at this point, but I think I'm actually feeling kind of lucky about it. I feel like maybe the A-Rod, Mark Lore purchase of the Wolves gives me a little good juju, or it could be the complete opposite. I could just
think A-Rod's going to work his magic in that draft lottery.
Oh yeah,
sweet talk Adam Silver a little bit.
A-Rod knows how to do business.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
But speaking of that lottery, the Wolves are looking at a 9% chance of picking number one overall, and they got a 27.6% chance of keeping our pick and being in the top three and having a chance to land a great player. Just another one in a long list of lottery picks we have on this team at this point. So I don't know. How you feeling about our chances, Bailey, going into this draft lottery?
Not great.
Not great? Oh,
but no, that's kind of the consequences of having the good, solid end of the season that we were kind of wanting out of this team. Mm-hmm. Like we've talked about, we have our core with Cat and D'Lo. You got Ant, who's an emerging superstar, I personally believe. Mm-hmm. You got good complementary players, Malik Beasley. Josh Okogie's a good defender. Jaden McDaniels, he's probably your future 3 or 4, I would say. He's got unlimited potential. He's a great shooter. He's athletic. He can play D, block shots.
He's off working with Ant in Twin Cities lately.
True, yeah. They're already in town, which is awesome.
It's big.
You got Naz Reid. He's a pretty solid center off the bench.
I saw he's in general, too.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Man, got to get Cat and D'Lo here.
Yeah, I know, right? But get the cornerstones here.
Yeah, so I'm not loving our chances, and obviously with the way the percentages are, we don't have a great chance. It'd be nice to be able to keep that top 3 pick. It'd be awesome to be picking number 1 overall.
Oh, yeah.
But, the Wolves.
Cade Cunningham.
Yeah, the Wolves don't really need a Cade Cunningham. They could use an Evan Mobley, who's probably going to be a top 3 pick.
100%. Yes. Now we need more cooks in the kitchen, man.
There's only one ball. If we didn't have D'Lo, it wouldn't worry me so much. But D'Lo's going to want the ball in his hands a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And we both believe that the ball should be in Ant's hands the most.
Yes.
And then you got Cat, who's probably he's the best player on the team right now, and he doesn't get nearly enough shots. It seems like the way it is. So
he's too passive.
So, yeah, it'd be nice to get that pick, and it's a shame that it's going to end up going to Golden State, and they might have a chance at picking a really good player. So,
oh my gosh, yeah, that's the price of getting rid of Wig.
Exactly. Overall, I think it was worth it. We got rid of Wiggins' awful contract. We got D'Angelo Russell. He's our point guard for now. It remains to be seen if it'll actually work out long term. Mm-hmm. But so yeah, I'm not loving our chances. If we do get it, it's great. But if we don't, then we can just look forward to either trading for guys or adding guys in free agency.
Absolutely, yeah. And kind of speaking to that about whether we're keeping our pick or not, I feel better now than I probably would have guessed I would. Like, towards the end of the season, like, if you'd asked me in, like, let's say March, I think that was, like, about right after the All-Star break or something, we were just bottoming out. And, like, I would have been super upset if we got to this point and we weren't keeping our pick. But now that we had that nice end of the season, felt like we were starting to put some things together, play together as a team better, just because you had all 3 of our main players on the floor and playing pretty well together, to be honest. They're playing about 500 basketball at the end, and that's not bad. So I honestly, I feel okay if we lose this pick. Like, obviously it's not optimal. I'd rather get another good player, but the thing is it's not always realistic either, and I can live with it for now. That's kind of where I'm at with this. But speaking also, you mentioned adding players through more than just the draft,
right?
And you mentioned to me before that the Wolves could possibly make a play at a guy like Miles Turner. How would you feel about the Wolves kind of entertaining that option? Obviously, it'd have to be via trade, but how would you feel about them bringing in Miles Turner to play next to Cat?
It'd be interesting because I think he's got a pretty hefty contract. I don't think it's not a max deal or anything, but he's got a pretty hefty contract, and I think you'd have to give up a guy. You'd probably have to give up like Malik Beasley just to get him, and Miles Turner's a great rim protector. He's a good defender. He'd be the optimal guy, honestly, to have play next to Cat. Mm-hmm. But I just don't know if I'd part with Malik Beasley to get him,
No, I love having a 3-point shooter, but like Beasley. But
yeah, so I don't know. If they could maybe somehow finagle trading Rubio there, which I don't see that happening.
Take that all the way to the bank.
Because I don't know why a team like the Pacers would have interest in Ricky Rubio and trading away your your starting center for Ricky Rubio, but I don't know. So I can see it. Like, it makes sense, basketball-wise, but contract-wise and what you'd have to give up for him, I just don't see it happening. But it'd be great if they were able to pull it off, that's for sure.
Totally agree. Honestly, I'd really like to have Miles Turner just the post presence, because I feel like we're desperately missing that with like Cat. I think he can get physical. He just he has to get angry first in the paint.
That's true.
And then I think he starts throwing his body. If he's playing like Embiid or something, like he'll get into it. But I just don't think he's that much of a get the post and really go after somebody. Where I think we kind of missed that when you play a team like, let's say for instance Memphis, and they have like Jonas Valanciunas or something, like we just get bodied. So that'd be nice to have Miles Turner in there to kind of assert himself and really provide that post defense that we just don't have right now. So I think that'd be a nice option. And then as far as if you want to explore other options, like let's say free agents here, I think there's guys you could explore like JaMychal Green, Nerlens Noel, TJ McConnell as a backup point guard. PJ Tucker could be a small forward. You see him flashing for the Bucks.
Yeah, so he's a gritty player. The Wolves could use a guy like that.
100%, and especially just that defensive prowess that we're kind of missing, because obviously we have a lot of guys that are just really offensively gifted, but don't play a whole lot of defense. But I don't know, who would you kind of pursue first out of all these free agent targets we have here, or just in general, if there's somebody off the top of your head?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, these aren't like the best free agent options available, but they're probably the most realistic given our cap situation. I would probably say PJ Tucker. I just wish he was a little younger. I think he's already 36 or 37 years old.
And it's amazing how high of a level he's still playing at.
Exactly. He can defend 1 through 5. He can hit threes. He's an energy type player. He's gritty, but he's not like a Jimmy Butler kind of, where he rubs people the wrong way. So, PJ Tucker, I think, would be a good fit on this team, but I'm kind of wondering if he'd be too old and he wouldn't quite fit with the current group. So I could also see a guy like JaMychal Green making sense, another veteran, but good rebounder, just a good solid post player, nothing flashy, but he'll get the job done. He's not going to be a end of the bench guy like Ed Davis was this past season, which was just kind of a waste of a roster spot. So Nerlens Noel would be fun too, just because, he was kind of the high lottery pick, from a handful of years ago, and the Sixers picked him, right? 76ers?
Or the Pelicans did way back.
Oh, yeah, it was the Pelicans. Yeah. I don't know. He'd be an interesting one, too, but I don't know if he'd really add much with this current group. So I think TJ McConnell would be a fantastic backup point guard, but I feel like that's kind of low on the list of priorities right now. If they keep Rubio, they obviously don't need one. If they end up getting rid of Rubio somehow and, don't get a guy like Miles Turner back, maybe you run with Jordan McLaughlin or Jalen Noel, one of those two run the show off the bench. So I'm not so sure they'll actually pursue a backup point guard, but it'll be interesting to see what they do and if they can create a little cap space here.
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of adding on to that too is just finding guys that fit what we're doing here that can really complement D'Lo and Cat and Ant. I think that's the biggest thing. Like, obviously it'd be nice if you get a cornerstone in the draft, as far as like free agency and trading for people. Like, we just need role players. So I think that's a good thing. A good thing to have is that you feel like you have a foundation you're just building on top of. But did you have anything else to add as far as what the Wolves should be prioritizing this offseason?
Yeah, like I just think it's best to think of constructing this team to build around Anthony Edwards. Like, Cat is your best player. Him and D'Lo are still your 1-2 punch. I know Ant was just a rookie, but within the next year or so here, Ant is going to be your best player without a doubt. He honestly has the potential to be a top 10, top 5 player in the NBA down the line.
I love that ceiling.
He's only 19 years old, so I think it's best to think of players that would do well playing with Anthony Edwards, spacing the floor, being able to shoot, because Ant gets into the paint, he drives the lane, he kicks out. So I think it's best to find guys that complement that play style the best.
Yeah, 100%. Like you said, it's really exciting. I think the Wolves are playing a pretty modern, or moving towards playing a modern brand of basketball, which is really good. So, and obviously, you just got to build around it. Like you said, he's got that ceiling. Top 5 player in the NBA, that'd be sweet. And obviously, if you can build a decent enough team around him, like, boy, you could actually make some noise in the playoffs. Like, for instance, like the Suns are doing this year.
Yeah, true.
That'd be so sweet. Bring a winner back to Minnesota on the hardwood. Oh, boy, that's been forever since KG, that MVP season in 04. We haven't really done anything since.
Yeah, I think the Wolves should really look to the Suns for motivation on how to take the next step with a young roster. And
Chris Paul.
Obviously Chris Paul's a huge part of it, but maybe if you can add like a solid veteran, not necessarily, it doesn't have to be a point guard, but like just a veteran player that'll kind of hold some of these guys accountable, but not to the point of Jimmy Butler, once again.
I want people confronting each other in practice.
Yes, that's exactly what we need, and then we'll blow it all up again. So
any final remarks or closing thoughts on the Wolves here?
I mean, hopefully the lottery treats them well, but after getting the number 1 overall pick last year, I'm just not banking on it. So
that's fair.
Try and create some cap space. Don't trade Malik Beasley, and let's go from there.
Yep, I completely agree with you there. Yeah, obviously the lottery averages play out, and that kind of is what it is. So I guess I shouldn't get my hopes up too much, but I'll get excited anyway until it officially happens.
I'll watch it.
And we lose our pick. Mm-hmm. But that's going to do it for this edition of the North Star Takes podcast. Be sure to like our video and give us hit that subscribe button on YouTube, as well as giving us a follow on Instagram and Twitter, and comment below who you want the Wolves to pursue this offseason, whether that be free agency or maybe via trade.